We're back to the Total Education Celebrity Show on the Total Education Network, TotalTutor.net for more information. Twitter, Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook, again, in the Beach Lifestyle Celebrity segment. And I'm really excited to welcome the program, I guess, Baywatch and much, much more celebrity, David Chokachi. David, thanks for calling, man.
You bet, dude, and you got it right. Chokachi. Not many people do that.
Hey, I have to pronunciate a ton. I interview I wonder how many interviews I've ever done, but I do about 20 a week, so I'm becoming, I guess, a professional, so-called, but it's really easy for me to do this stuff, and you wouldn't believe some of the pronunciations I have to deal with, David. They're crazy, man. But I also, when I heard I was going to get to interview you, David, I looked at your IMDb, and I saw your picture, and I said, I recognized you absolutely from Baywatch. That's where I know you from, and specifically, and do lots of people recognize you still, remembering you from Baywatch, in your opinion?
Oh, yeah. I mean, literally, you know, it's what is it, 18 years later, and I get it. It's crazy. I get it all the time. It's unbelievable. Luckily, I've stayed fit and healthy, and I've aged pretty well, so I kind of somewhat still look like my character, Cody Madison, and it's hilarious. I could be anywhere. Like, God, I've been all over the world, you know, either on an adventure or we're shooting a movie or and in the most random places in the world, and people will be like, holy, you're Cody Madison. Like, it's crazy. Like, we were clearing customs one time in Chile in this little tiny small fishing village. And the guy, like, it's like a real full-on, like, you know, TSA, customs, blah, blah. And he's looking at my passport, and he's like, hey, you're Cody, huh? Cody, Baywatch. And then he's like, hey, can I come outside of the booth and take pictures with you? And like, he's totally, like, breaking protocol. Like, he's out on the bulletproof like, casing, and we're taking photos and stuff, so. I mean, the show is legendary. You know, we're in the Guinness Book of World Records, and it still is alive and well. And you know, I get it quite a bit still. It's even though I've gone on to, you know, continue to work.
Oh my gosh, absolutely, a lot of work. Yeah, and we're going to talk about that, especially with the projects, David. But I mean, that's what I recognized you. And honestly, I was not a Baywatch fan. I probably watched it once or twice, maybe for the chicks. But ultimately, it's just your face is just so recognizable for sure.
Yeah. You know, I've done a fair amount of things, and I also, you know, I host a show for Spike TV, and I do a lot with the environment and stuff. So I'm kind of, you know, I try. I'm out there, I guess. You know, you got to be, you know. And one of the coolest things about obviously being an actor is you have a voice, and you get to help, you know, people or the environment. And I really try and be as proactive as possible, and working with, like, Surfrider Foundation and Waterkeeper Alliance and things like that, and Best Friends, the Animal Society, like the ocean and the animals are my thing. So those are my kind of focus kind of charities. But
gotcha.
You know, having a voice, and people, you know, they don't have to listen, but you get to kind of send a message, and a lot of times it improves the world.
Absolutely. Let's go right, David, specifically to, again, being part of the Cape Cod Bay Challenge. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, that started, I'm from Plymouth, Massachusetts, and that started 6 years ago. Myself and 7 other guys decided randomly to see if we could paddle from Plymouth across Cape Cod Bay to Provincetown on stand-up board. So we met at like 4:30 in the morning. I was on like a 10-foot board. We were kind of all ill prepared. Like, we didn't have enough of everything. We had one support boat, but we did it. We had great conditions that day, luckily, and it's grown from 8 paddlers to last year we had 85 paddlers, I believe, and this year there was some attrition because the conditions last year were really hard. So we had 57 paddlers, but we've raised over $120,000 for Christopher's Haven, which is this amazing charity in Boston. Are you familiar with it?
No, we definitely are. Our audience wants to know more about that. So basically, this challenge raises money for Christopher Haven's benefit. So tell us a little bit about that.
families come from around the world to Mass General and the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute for Children's Cancer, and the majority of these families are impoverished, and they have no place to stay while their child is in treatment, and they could be there a week, a month, 6 months, a year, who knows? And basically, Christopher's Haven provides housing for the families while their son or daughter is being treated. Wow. And that's just it's an unbelievable, great charity. And we've gone on to do some wonderful things together. And then each year the money is growing, and the amount of people and the interest, and it all started kind of on a whim of just it was a challenge, and then we attached a charity to it because we're like, why not? And but it was just like, hey, do you think we could make this? Do you think we could make this distance and survive it? And sure enough, we did, and then it exploded. So yeah, CapeCodBayChallenge.org. Check it out, and every year it happens around mid-August, and if you want to come out and see if you can paddle 34 miles on your stand-up board, we welcome you.
Wow. So that must be a lot of training involved before the event, isn't there?
There definitely is. And this year, because I'm in New York City, and I'm not too psyched about paddling on the Hudson, I didn't train as much. I mean, I did some simulated training. I swam, and I lifted weights, and I did all kinds of other things, but I wasn't on my board enough. And we had some bad conditions. We had to paddle at in the 12 to 15 knots for about 10 miles, which is on a stand-up board is about the most painful thing you can kind of do, because you're paddling on one side the whole time just to stay upwind, and so your things start cramping up, your triceps, your feet, your legs, everything, and you really can't stop to we have camelbacks, and you can suck water, but once they run dry, if you stop to change out your camelback, you're losing ground very fast. You're blown backwards. So it was a true mental battle, and I definitely paid the price. But I made it, man. A lot of people got yanked out of boats. You got to maintain you have to maintain 4 knots or above in order to do it, and it takes us 11. This year it took us 11 hours, and we have short breaks every 2 hours. We have a 8-minute break to sit down, refuel, eat, drink, and just stretch out, whatever, and get going.
So, are any other celebrities involved in this event?
Trying to think. There's some pro stand-up paddlers. Celebrity-wise, not really. I think I'm the only one stupid enough to get out there and do it. You know what I mean? You got to recruit them, man. Recruit them. Say you got to. Yeah, I'm trying. My buddy Ingo Rademacher, he was on General Hospital for years. He would do it, but he lives over in Hawaii, and he does the Molokai stand-up crossing, which is a brutal one. They pop up all over the place now. These challenges, and they're great things, and they're great fundraisers. Okay, so again, you help out so much with the Christopher Havens, based being involved in the challenge and promoting it, and what a great cause, especially for families going through dealing with the grief. But then you also talked about the involvement in the environment, and I could tell you're the kind of guy when you talked about the importance of this. So tell me a little bit about the Surfrider Foundation. Sure. Yeah. Basically, it's funny enough. I was introduced to Surfrider Foundation on Baywatch. We actually had an episode where there was a water quality testing issue. They wanted to ban water quality testing because of funding, and this was fucking 18 years ago, right? So, and that happened to be my storyline, myself and Gino Lee Nolan. And fast forward to literally last summer, Obama wants to cut water quality testing out of the budget. And, water quality testing is like $2 million for the country. It's a joke. And he's thinking that's making hard cuts. And basically, you're without the testing, you're sending your family, your kids into oceans or rivers, and that are potentially very toxic or loaded with bacteria or sewage, and it may look pristine, it may look like Waikiki, but it's loaded with, very harmful things. And so that was one thing. Like, literally, I went and testified with the Surfrider lawyer. We went and testified on behalf of Surfrider Foundation down to Congress, and basically had appealed to a bunch of senators and congressmen and to reinstate the funding. And it's still up for debate, I guess. It's just kind of a strange thing. And ever since that introduction, when I started on Baywatch, that I've been heavily involved with them. And I was distinguished enough to receive the Keeper of the Coast Award, which is an award they only give out every 5 years to people who celebrities or musicians who go out of their way kind of unselfishly to give back to the ocean or the beaches or the waves, or to educate people. And it was really prestigious and it's awesome. It was myself, it was Pearl Jam, and the band Incubus, and the three of us basically received this award at this huge event that they pump a lot of money into, and the fact that they only give it out every 5 years is remarkable, and to receive that was fantastic. And the other ones, I'm friends with Robert Kennedy Jr. and Waterkeeper Alliance is a big one I do a lot with, which is more river-based, but I try and help him as much as possible. Like, I fly fish and I kayak, and I just want to pass on clean, natural resources to our kids. We have a 2-year-old daughter, and I want her to be able to, if she's going to go jump in the ocean, that it's safe. She's not going to get sick. In LA, it's disgusting. If it rains, all these websites pop up, like, don't go surfing, high bacteria levels, all these beaches, or guaranteed you'll get sick. And, and you do. And you guaranteed you come home with a sickness. And that's just terrible. So I definitely do a lot with the ocean, and then also see the Surfers Environmental Alliance, which is one where we actually paddle around Manhattan. That's another stand-up paddle event that gives back to the oceans and also autism. And then I do some work with Heal the Bay. And then the other big one is animals. And I got to squeeze that in there because we rescued our pit mix from this out in L.A. It's called Best Friends Animal Society, and they're based in Kanab, Utah. And they have hundreds of acres, and they have state-of-the-art facility, and they basically will take animals and let them live out their lives. Instead of euthanizing them, they will let them live out their lives in this beautiful country. They actually took all 21, or I think it was 21 of Michael Vick's dogs, the pit bulls that were victimized, and they rehabbed every single one except one. And they were released back out to families and totally safe. And, that's the kind of things they're doing. They're amazing.
Absolutely.
It's a fantastic, unbelievable place.
You're doing so many awesome things to help people out. So, it's going to be interesting. I guess what we'll do is get the websites of all the ones you're going to promote at the end of this. But when we get back, let's talk about your latest projects. Again, I recognized you from Baywatch, but I read your resume, and it's impressive, and it's still very impressive. Maybe I am going to definitely have to tune in specifically to Spike TV and watch you and say, oh, okay, that's who it is, and all these different things.
On my website. My website has all the show, because they're 10 minutes or half-hour shows where we go to actually to the sets of big movies, and I'm the on-camera guy. So we went all the way to Thailand and do The Hangover Part 2, or we go down to Brazil. We did the Fast Five down there, and so I interview all the actors, directors, stunt guys, and I get to play with the cars and the guns, and it's the coolest job. And so if you go to www.davidchokachi.com and you go over hosting reels, you can see me interviewing Stallone and all these guys, and Diesel. Yeah, and all the boys, and Bradley Cooper from we did the A-Team, and also The Hangover, and so it goes on and on. It's kind of cool. So people, it's definitely something to check out.
Absolutely, David. When we get back, and I wish I could have some of those people on my radio show. We'll see if that somehow you ever can help me out with a few of them. So when we get back,
you got it, man.
Oh, thanks, man. When we get back, more with David Chokachi, and we're going to really go into specifically enough his projects and stuff, life after Baywatch and everything. You're listening to Total Education Celebrity Show, powered by the Beach Lifestyle Celebrity segment. We'll be back in just a moment. We're back to the Total Education Celebrity Show on the Total Education Network. Again, TotalTutor.net for more information. You got to go on Twitter at Total Tutor, Neil S. Haley, Facebook. And David, I've been pretty frustrated with West Penn AAA motor car services. They really have dropped the ball on me 3 times, so I had to mention that for a bit so that all the people listening can hear that, because that's my beef right now. And if you're on Facebook, you check that out, and also Twitter. Let's go next, David, into specifically the current projects that are going on in life after Baywatch. Because once Baywatch was over, was it difficult to become a working actor and keep working all the time, or you just basically just pumped through it and said, I'm going to keep persevering?
You know, there was a lot of, after Baywatch and during, you know, there was a lot of judgment, ill or criticism of us as actors, basically saying that none of us could act. And it was back in the day when no film actors did TV, and, you know, and we really got a bad rap, man, because, you know, Baywatch was it's a medium of entertainment, you know. We never claimed to be doing Shakespeare in the bar. You know what I mean? And there have been some phenomenal actors that have come through there and gone through there. I mean, Alexander Paul is fantastic, you know. Jason Simmons, Yasmin, you know, and the list goes on and on. Parker Stevenson, he came on for a while, and he is a really talented actor, and he also loves to direct, so that was his trade-off. You know, and Hasselhoff is good. You know, he's good. We're running around in shorts and Speedos and there's girls and with, you know, boobs and whatever, so they automatically they throw us under a bus and they assume you can't act. So after Baywatch ended, and I tried to, you know, you have to go audition and get in casting rooms, a lot of people would just say flat out, no, he was on Baywatch, he can't act. They've never looked at your demo reel.
Oh my gosh.
Or you'd go in the room and they would look at you and, you know, be hypercritical of your performance. They would never give you a break. So you know, I stuck with it, man. I fought it, and, you know, and you just get a thick skin, and I've gone on to persevere, and I've done that, you know. After that, I did a pilot for Jon Favreau that was just amazing. Vince Vaughn was in, and then, you know, it was just at the wrong network. It was at UPN when UPN was around, and it didn't get picked up. But soon after that, I got Witchblade, which was one of the best written shows that I've ever been on, which was a critically acclaimed hit TV series for TNT that we did for 3 years. That was based on a comic book and just was so ahead of its time and unreal. And when that ended, you know, and in between, I've done like tons of movies for like Sci-Fi Channel. I've had a movie I did a movie called Psycho Beach Party that made it into the Sundance Film Festival. I worked for Sci-Fi Channel a lot, or Lifetime, or Hallmark, or, you know, I had a role in Soul Surfer, the Bethany Hamilton movie where she lost her arm. You know, this year's been a boom. I've done like 4 or 5 movies since November of last year, yeah. And it's really cool. I have like a fantastic one coming up called Army of the Damned, where I get to play this just total prick of a cop. And basically, it's a reality show following around these cops in this really small, sleepy town, and we respond to a domestic dispute, and a family's been slaughtered, and it turns out the house is basically demonized, and there's zombies, and things just go off the rails. And the lead singer from Godsmack, Sully Erner, he played the lead, and you know, fantastic cast. Tommy Dreamer, all these horror movie actors that Michael Barrymore, who am I forgetting? Just horror genre guys that have been doing it forever, and the final product is unreal. Joey Fatone from NSYNC, he is in it.
Oh wow,
he is hilarious. So that's coming out, and I actually shot a movie over in Bulgaria in May, and that was actually a horror story based on called Roseville, based on a true story, and it's a cold case that took place during the 80s, and I play an ex-CIA agent who befriends a KGB agent, and we're both pining for the same woman, and we both kind of have this cabin, bed and breakfast that we kind of retreat to that no one knows about, and it's kind of a cover, we honeymooners come, and but it's a place for us to kind of like disappear because I've become kind of a mole, and it was unbelievably shot, and it guaranteed it is going to freak the crap out of people. Both of these horror movies are.
Wow.
That's coming out, and then I just did a short. I have a really small role in this movie called this short film called Alone Time that Josh Murphy produced, and you'll see a bunch of it. It'll be on Twitter and my Facebook page, and you should check it out. It's 12 minutes, and it's based on a true story, and Rose Hemingway plays the lead. And there's very little dialogue. You'll see it once you watch it, you'll get it, and when the ending will freak you out like you've never been freaked out. And it's not a gory thing or anything. You'll never see it coming, and it's based on a true story, like I said. So definitely check that out. You can actually go online right now and see it. And it's called Alone Time on Vimeo or YouTube or and I'll post it on my website too. So
fantastic, David. I mean, you have a lot. You're one of the hardest working actors, and honestly, and I'm being honest, didn't know what was going on with your career, and that's what happens a lot of times. You get one role that defines you, yet you do all this work, and because you are not, it's not the biggest blockbuster, you play a role in the movie, but not something that is like the lead in certain aspects that never makes tons of money. You are successful because you're a working actor that continues to work, and it's not the easiest thing in the world to keep working, is it? It's
no, man, it's brutal. I mean, and the writer's strike definitely killed a lot. That was the hardest time for me and everybody. It destroyed families. I mean, I couldn't imagine being like, being in a relationship with, like, if it was my wife, if she was a writer and I was an actor. Like, I mean, you'd lose. It was like a year and a half with this huge hangover of no work. It took like a year for work to. Once the strike ended, it took at least a year for work to like pick up, and people got crushed, and so I survived that, and just kind of persevered. And like I said, I've gone on also to like trying to hosting and doing this show called Action with Spike TV and Comedy Central. That's also filled in like a lot of voids in between movies, or whenever I have free time, and those are fantastic jobs.
How'd you get that gig? Because that seems really amazing to get to meet all these cool people.
Yeah, I did this really kind of cheesy reality TV show called Confessions of a Teen Idol. Scott Baio talked me into it, and so I said no. They offered me some money, and then basically I told my agent, I go, tell them we want this ridiculous number, and my agent's like, you'll never get paid that, David. And then I go, great. I don't have a decision to make. And sure enough, a day later, VH1 came back for the money, and I was like, well, looks like I'm doing the show. But so I did the show, and actually someone with this guy from Spike, this Eric Bloom, who's an executive over at Viacom, was watching, and he was like, this is the kind of guy I've been looking for to host the show. He's kind of surviving a lot of tough situations. He's good on camera, blah, blah, blah. He's athletic, charismatic, blah, blah. And so basically we had a phone meeting, and next thing I knew, I was on on a plane. We went over to Wales to do Clash of the Titans, and I interview all like Sam Worthington and Gemma Arterton and all the boys, everybody in the movie. And then, I also it's a great interview because we don't care about your method of acting. Like, we want to know what these guys did last night, or I get to play with the stunt guys and shoot all the guns, or, you know what I mean? Or mess around with the actors, have them show me some stunts, or, it's very playful and very anti-interview, which as an actor myself, I love, because you're so sick of hearing, like, what is your method, or where did you study,
Exactly. You like a conversation like you and I are having right now, just having a beer and just learning about each other. That's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I wish I've not told you my background, David. A former professional wrestler, school teacher, now own a touring consulting company, entrepreneur, but yet looking to write books. So I have an interesting life, how I've kind of developed this, and I just love interviewing people like you. And now I'm going to say, holy cow, what an interesting thing. Everyone needs to check out Spike TV for sure to see all those awesome people you're interviewing. And you keep working hard as a working actor, because I have a good friend named Scott Levy who does video game acting, but he stays working. And he tells me flat out, man, it is such a challenge, and that there's so many people. Yeah. This is an art. This is what people don't understand. Yeah. They think that you guys make millions and millions of dollars, and there's only a few that do. But you guys have a passion for this. This is just what you love, isn't it?
Exactly. And I'm a big believer in work begets work, man. I mean, that's why in this short I did with Rose Hemingway, it's kind of the idea is you see me, I'm in focus. And then I'm kind of out of focus, and then I come back into focus. It's very short, but that's kind of the effect, and you'll see why when you watch it. Like I said, it takes 12 minutes. But, through that, I've met this, I was doing, I do a lot of PSAs for California State Parks, and one of the director of the Cal State Parks PSA I did was producing this short and asked me to be in it. And, these guys are going to go on to make incredible movies. It's a young group of very talented writers and actors and directors that they're all kind of connected with, and I kind of do him a favor, and I did a small role, and we hope to do many movies together. And there's always it's like you meet new people, or you find someone and they like your work, or someone sees you in this, and they're like, it just kind of it radiates and snowballs from there.
Absolutely.
And
most definitely, David. So two things. I guess you have a lot of websites to promote now, and let's give you them. First of all, some of the foundation work you're doing, and then also some websites on yourself, and I guess information on some of your other things you're promoting. So go down the list and see what you can promote in the next. A lot of it's at a lot of it's your website, right?
Yeah, if you go on my website, a lot of the charitable work is all on there. Primarily, like I said, Surfrider Foundation and Heal the Bay and Waterkeeper Alliance, Sea Paddle, which is Surfers Environmental Alliance, Best Friends Animal Society.
Wow, you have a lot.
Yeah.
And then you have all those other promotions. But if you go to your website or Twitter, The Real David Chokachi, they can check out a lot of the stuff. Your Facebook page, tell us about that, and the website, and find out all the cool things you're doing. They got to stay on that website for a while. You're doing so many interesting things.
Yeah, and there's a lot of cool, I'll put a lot of videos from, my demo reels on there. I have an action reel. And then I have a lot of different, like I just did this show called Miss You Much with Catherine Brightman, which was, I don't know if you've seen that yet. It's on VH1. And it was funny as hell. I took her out. I tried to teach her how to stand up paddle. And sure enough, I'm a really good stand up paddler, but I was the first one to fall in the ocean. It was on camera. She's like, she fell in first. Definitely go to www.davidchokachi.com, and there's a lot of information on there. And then Twitter, definitely, I think the handle is The Real David Chokachi or The Real Chokachi. And then Facebook is the same, I believe. If you type in David Chokachi, Although I've seen like another one on there too this morning, which is kind of disturbing. But basically, you'll know it's me because there's me surfing on a wave like in the background, and you should be able to get the drift. Like that, it's actually like really that's my website.
Awesome.
And yeah,
cool.
So that's it, man.
Well, David, thanks for calling. We got to bring you back in the next quarter, meaning the next 3 months, and then you could give us a update on how all these other projects have gone. And I enjoyed talking to you, so thanks for calling.
Yeah, you bet. And there's 2 movies out right now. It's called one called Jetstream and one called Collision Course that I did with Tia Carrera that are on like Sci-Fi or on you can get them on iTunes. That are both kind of very cool, fun movies that people would dig.
Awesome. Well, thanks for calling, man.
Yep.
Take care.
All right, brother. Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
You're
Appreciate
welcome.
it.
Okay, see ya. Bye-bye. You're listening to Told Education Celebrity Show on the Told Education Network, and we'll be back in just a moment.